Energy stocks look interesting to me. So I was talking to my mom, and we're going back. I was sharing with her how I remember she introduced me to investing, or she was sharing with me, with Central Maine Power back in 1992 when I first got out of the Army, and talked to me about what a stock was and whatnot. And back then, Central Maine Power, which is now owned by Avangard or something like that, some Spanish or Portuguese company. Anyway, so back then CMP was trading like 8 cents a share, had a dividend and whatnot, and it's not trading 8 cents a share anymore. And I just can't remember the name of the company, bought it out. But anyway, so she was trying to tell me about stocks, PE ratio, dividend yield, price to book, all that stuff, all the stuff that's would be the French FAMA factor stuff, and I've always been keen on that. Anyway, so I started talking about Southern Company because my electricity is through Georgia Power, which is part of Southern Company, and then her electricity is through Dominion Resources, which is now called Dominion Energy. And I looked them both up, and I own 100 shares of Southern Company. I don't own any of Dominion Energy, but I'm probably going to buy some tomorrow. But I guess the market's closed on President's Day. I can't remember. But anyway, so man, Dominion Energy, dude, it's got like a 12 PE, a 13 PE, with almost like a 6% dividend yield. And the price is off like 50% from just like a year or 2 years ago. And look, this is not a recommendation. Do not take this as a recommendation. If I recommend it, you know it's crap. I was like, that looks pretty good to me, man. Now, I don't have no clue how much debt they got, no idea. I know utilities can be considered like highly regulated, and as such, there's limits on the upside. I don't know that to be true, though, because Dominion Resources trading, at 75 for years and years and years, now it's down to like 45 or something like that. Southern Company has gone up over the last 10, 15 years, gone up quite a bit. Again, not as much as like the S&P 500, but it's gone up quite a bit, all the while paying a hefty dividend too. Very interesting. So I'm looking. I mean that. I don't know if those would fall into the commodities ETF or whatnot, but you're getting a good dividend, low PE stock, and Southern Company's not down, but it's up. But it's not up that much in the last couple of years. But over the last, historically, it's up nicely, just slow but steady, man. And Dominion Resources way down. That's the only two I looked at. The only two energy companies I looked at. But I was talking to my mom. Is like they're getting ready to open a new nuclear plant in Georgia. I think the first one in 30 years or something like that. That Southern Company owns. And my mom kind of chuckled. And I remember, she took us to a protest. Well, me as a kid, I was a little baby. She took us to protest Maine Yankee, which was the nuclear plant we had in Wiscasset, Maine, and all their protests, these hippies, has shut down Maine Yankee. But now it's funny because she was friends on Peaks Island with these two one a theoretical physicist, and the other was I can't remember what kind of physicist he was, Craig Shinstead and Irene Shinstead, both now since departed. But they said it's crazy to protest. They were huge hippies, just huge. But they said it's crazy to protest nuclear because it's the safest and the cleanest source of electricity you're ever going to find. Energy as a whole, but certainly electricity. And this is back in the 70s. My mom's like, really? He goes, oh, absolutely. It's so safe. But, they got us, everyone thinking anti-nuclear because of stupid Jane Fonda's movie and all that. It's just so dumb. It's just such propaganda. Magically, right around the same time as Jane Fonda's movie, the China Syndrome happened, 3 Mile Island, the 3 Mile Island happened literally like within 10 days. How ironic is that? Oh, you see conspiracies and everything. And there ain't no such thing as a coincidence when it comes to that, dude. That's just silly. But anyway, so Germany has gone exactly the opposite for nuclear. They said we're not having any more nuclear plants. They shut them all down. And of course, the prices of electricity in Germany is through the roof now. But anyways, the U.S. is starting to come more and more on board with nuclear. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes some time. But someone's got to be the company to build this stuff. And Dominion Resources, Southern Company. And I haven't looked at any balance sheet of Dominion Resources. I don't know what they're doing. Hopefully they're not big green clowns. Obviously you got to give some. You got bound out a little bit to the green freaking Satanists. But at the end of the day, their job is to produce electricity, generate or distribute electricity, or both. And as such, they know for a fact that they have to distribute it. It's got to come from someplace. It's not come from solar or wind. But it's going to come from fossil fuels. It's going to come from hydro. You can't really produce any more hydro, and it's going to come from nuclear. And I just thought it's funny. My mom was like chuckled. She goes, I knew it. She goes, when Craig and Irene Shinstead told me about nuclear, how being it clean and green, I knew we made a mistake in protesting Maine Yankee. Yep, you did, Mom, but that's okay. Now because everyone's doing that back in the 70s. Nuclear energy is horrible. We're all gonna die. I tell you, it's just not. It's safe, and it's just fundamentally, it's the only way to go, especially if you're considered worried about emissions and whatnot. So anyway, so Southern Company having that first nuclear power plant, I think it's like 35 years. That's very appealing to me. And there can be these small modular reactors. We're going to have these localized nuclear plants at some point in the future. They're not there yet. So unlike the video I just did on blockchain, which there is no profits on and no real product, while you're waiting for these nuclear plants to be built and come to online, you're still getting a PE ratio of these energy companies who have to generate and distribute electricity. You're still getting money for that. Don't you do it. And you're still getting a dividend while you're waiting, unlike blockchain. You're still getting a price-earnings ratio below 20, unlike blockchain or MicroStrategy or Bitcoin or anything like this. So this is the kind of stuff that makes me excitable. They say a low price to earnings, I presume is a very, very low price to book, and a high dividend yield. That's very attractive to me, and it's a evergreen product. We're always going to need electricity and energy. You're always going to. It'll never go away. And so it looks interesting to me. Again, don't buy it because I said do your own doggone research, but check it out. Let me know what you think. And if you have a company that you're looking at that I'm ignorant of, again, I live in Atlanta. My mom was in Virginia. And again, I don't know the Avangard company up in Maine. I don't know what else is out there. But if you got something you're looking at, let me know. Put in the show notes what kind of companies you see. All right, God bless.